for it.
I thought Morgan Wallen, I thought that was a girl for about a week. And then I asked at church, so what other songs does she sing? And they all looked at me like, you think she's the girl? And yeah,
She
it
does
was
have
not
long
good.
hair. Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List. You'll notice that Ryan has survived the onslaught of assassins that Disney sent after him after the comments he made last week, although he has to wear that mask now to hide his identity, as they are still coming after him. Hopefully they don't figure out when we record these, otherwise you'd kind of be a sitting duck right now.
I would be.
You
and
would
also, this is a Disney property.
Yeah.
I'm using Disney to hide from Disney.
That's the best way to hide from Disney, yeah, is to wear a Mickey Mouse mask. But let's get into the opening spotlight. We are in a horror renaissance, or a horror renaissance, if you will. I don't know how well that's. I put. You may not seem like it, but I put thought into these sometime, and you can't really tell. Do you want to put that back?
Yeah, let's
put it back. But yeah, are we possibly living in one of the best times for horror movies, or at least an uptick?
I think we are 100%. People realize that they loved horror movies. They like getting scared. People like being a little uneasy about things. There's a lot of stuff that I would say nowadays is very bland, and I think people want that little off-kilter stuff. And it's making a huge comeback, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the reasons why we're talking about this is Smile premiered this past weekend, and it did great at the box office. Took the number one. Grossed just domestically over 24 million, I should say, with a budget of 17 million, already making a profit in one weekend. And this is not the first time this summer. We're not in summer anymore, but even earlier this summer when you're talking about action and blockbusters, not really a time for horror, the Black Phone movie came out with a domestic gross of over 23 million with a budget of 16 million. So essentially the same numbers here. So not only are people coming out, it's a consistency, and that's what you need to see. It's not a fluke. This has been happening more than once.
Yep.
There's other examples, but those are the two main ones. I guess another example that kind of shows that we're in sort of a good time for scary stuff. Obviously not to the same level as Smile or the Black Phone, but Hocus Pocus 2 had reportedly one of the best premieres on Disney Plus.
It's perfect.
I bet they're wishing they had released it in the theaters now. I'm
Yes,
just saying.
Yes, they are.
What'd you say? You want to see it in theaters?
And the best thing about a lot of like horror films and kind of your more traditional scary films, usually the budgets are a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
Horror films don't get a lot of money. But that's where a lot of innovation comes through, and people notice that in films. And when you can make a good product for cheap and make money on it, there's going to be a lot more of similar
results.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, with the Hocus Pocus 2 thing, we do kind of have to take Disney Plus's word at it. This is kind of the downside of these streaming movies, is when they say it's doing great and all that, we have to take their word for it.
Yeah.
With movies that release in theaters, we can see the box office numbers. Those are independently collected and everything.
Yep.
So that I always feel like is a little bit harder data. But assuming Disney isn't lying, which I don't
think they would.
Disney being corrupt, who would guess that?
Yeah, never.
But I'm kind of surprised this is one of the bigger premieres.
I think they're not lying about it because it's not one of their bigger properties. If it was a Marvel thing or a Disney or a Marvel or a Star Wars thing that maybe wasn't as good as they wanted, but they would just say, "Oh, it's doing great anyways."
Yeah.
But there really is no consequence for this. Is just a film they made and they put it out.
When you look at the lineup of everything Disney Plus has brought out, and you told me at the beginning of this year Hocus Pocus 2 was going to be the thing that kind of took the
cake.
Took the cake for streaming hours wise and everything, I've been like, nah.
No.
But yeah, we're living in sort of kind of an uptick here in horror, which is great because we are moving into October. It is spooky season. So if you're one of those people who've been loving the new horror movies, been going out to them, adding to that box office winnings, it's going to be a good month for you. It's going to be a good weekend for you. Let's get into the weekly preview, let you know what's coming out here this weekend. And if you're one of those people like me who are not a big fan of horror movies, might be a good time to start getting back into reading. It's something I've been meaning to do for a while. I haven't gotten into it, getting back into some books. But Wednesday, October 5th, by the time this video has already come out, one of the horror movies we're going to be talking about here will already have released on Netflix. It's Mr. Harrigan's Phone, the film adaptation of Stephen King story of the same title. Seriously, does this guy ever stop writing?
No.
How have we not run out of things to adapt into film?
From Stephen King.
From Stephen King.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, specifically.
Crazy.
It almost feels like these things come out every other week.
Yeah. And
didn't we just talk about one?
Yeah, and this one, as soon as I saw it, it reminded me of two things. Tuesdays with Maury, if you ever read that book. Because about a guy going to talk with an old man.
No, I hear you. I see where you come from.
I saw that right away. And then an old episode of The Twilight Zone. I think it's just called The Phone or something, but it's about a kid whose grandma passes away, but she calls him on a little toy phone, and he's able to talk to her, and then the parent. Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. And this is like a blend of that. I will say,
Tuesdays with Maury was not the first comparison I would have thought of, but you're right. You are totally right. But yeah, to get a little bit more into the story here, as you said, it's kind of a young man mentor relationship. Unfortunately, the mentor passes away. This is right at the time when the kid is kind of going through high school, so he's starting to deal with bullies and all that. Yep. So he's kind of using him as like a way to kind of talk and cope. But then he starts calling. He gifts the man the phone, which
an old iPhone like 4.
Yeah.
Like
when is this set? I assume this was set when it was
point.
like new. I'm just assuming though, but yeah, It was kind of a little bit of a throwback to see like one of those first iPhones. Yeah. And I was like, man, how far we've come. But I don't know anyone well enough where I feel like I would gift them an iPhone. No. So this he must have really been a good like therapist, I guess, or something. Yeah. But he starts calling the phone as a way to like kind of keep talking to him after the man passes away, wishing for bad things to happen to bad people.
Yeah.
And then bad things start happening to bad people. So yeah, it's a little bit of a supernatural thing going on there with some modern day tech.
Yeah. But a little spooky.
But yeah, if anyone of you feel like you are inclined to gift me an iPhone just out of kindness, I'm not going to stop you.
Yep, I will take anything but an iPhone.
No,
because that's garbage. Garbage. If I got an iPhone, yeet. Yeet.
Coming out today, the day this video premieres, Thursday, October 6th, Deadstream. Coming straight to Shudder. I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot about this streaming service this month. It is their time to shine.
It is.
It is Shudder's time. It's Shudder time. Right off the bat, this movie lets you know it's going to be a horror comedy. It's not kind of taking itself too seriously, but it does look like it has some legitimately spooky moments.
Yes,
throughout, and especially towards the end. It's basically this live streamer who goes into a haunted house. The whole point is he goes on YouTube and he faces his biggest fears. He hasn't gotten into this demonic house yet. Goes in. And he's freaking out. He's talking about all the YouTube things like as he's coming in. You've got like graffiti and the house is falling apart. And he's like, smash that like button on here and everything.
It's funny. It's like it's a good take on the modern just streamer or the Twitch like IRLs and it looks really funny. And like you said, the prosthetic work on some of the actors looks awesome. It looks really good.
Yep. This is essentially kind of a joking way of investigating a haunted house. I don't know when this movie was made or whatever, but I would like to say on this channel, on this very YouTube channel, we did this. We did this idea. We released our own little short film called Saint Nick where shameless plug. This is all a segue to my shameless plug. Go check out Saint Nick where we made fun of ghost hunters and demons being real and everything.
And Christmas.
Yeah, and Christmas.
Yep.
You want to see this guy in a Santa Claus suit?
It's pretty scary.
Don't show your kids; it'll ruin it for them.
Viewer
discretion is advised.
You're gonna hear about this same plug in about 2 months when Christmas rolls around.
Yeah, we're gonna do it all over again. But let's move into Friday, October 7th, the big weekend. Lots to talk about here. Amsterdam coming out to theaters. One of the biggest, star-studiest, A-listinest casts I think I have ever seen. If you don't recognize any of these names or faces, you don't like movies. You're probably not watching this show, so I don't really know what I'm talking about anymore.
We're not talking to you.
Yeah. But holy cow.
Yes.
I mean,
that's why no movies came out this summer, because they were all
working on this movie.
They're all in this one.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna get into all. I mean,
no.
I thought that was gonna happen. Do we just leave it?
Demons.
I think it looks creepier if it looks collapsed and it's about demons. Yeah, I'll fix it later. Truth be told, I don't want to get out of my seat. But anything we want to talk about this movie? I mean, it's a star-studded cast. It has sort of a mystery vibe. Looks like going to be a lot of great performances. I don't really know what to get into with the story.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, all I know is one guy's got a fake eye. Christian Bale's character.
Second movie where he's had a fake eye. Does he have a fake eye in real life, or is this just keep written into his character?
Maybe he does have fake eye.
Because he did the same thing in The Big Short.
Maybe he's got a Google eye.
Nah, he doesn't have a Google eye.
You don't think so?
No, he wouldn't sell out like that.
All right.
I don't think he would.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let's take a break from talking about movies to talk about a place where you can watch movies, the Marshall 6 Theater here in Marshall, Minnesota. They've got a wide range of movies, from comedies to dramas to dramedies to horror movies, as we are entering into spooky season here of October. So be sure to check out their website for show times and see what sort of variety they have here at the Marshall 6 Theater here in Marshall for all your great movie needs.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Well, let's move on from one star-studded great movie to what are we doing anymore, man? Okay, let's just talk about Lyle, Crocodile. In case I haven't made it clear, I hate alligators and crocodiles. I think I have a legitimate fear. So I will not be watching this movie. I don't care if it looks animated and fake as crap, because it looks really bad. But also, can I just, I'm going to take over on this one here. I got a lot to say. So a little PSA here. Javier Bardem, what are you doing, man? What are you doing in this movie? You're better than this. Come on. We're all better than this. We don't need to make every animal in the animal kingdom sing. We did it with the chipmunks. That was it. We should have stopped it there. But we did it with crocodiles. I think I just need a minute.
Yeah, it looks terrible. But that might also be me not being in touch with the cultural side, because Sam Hutchins, is that who the guy is?
Sam Mendes.
Don't know who that is.
I keep getting him and Charlie Puth confused. Legitimately, that's not even a joke.
You said that to me the other
And
day,
you don't even
and
know
I
who
said,
either of them are.
"Who's Charlie Bluth?"
Yeah,
and you said, "No, it's Charlie."
That's
Bluth.
not a bit. That actually happened yesterday.
I said, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Let's just move on here. Catherine called Birdy. That's kind of a confusing title.
Very weird.
Coming
title.
straight to Amazon Prime. Basically a woman empowerment movie, but set in medieval times. This is what I think is interesting about this, because we've seen this before. I think it's a good message. But this is set in a different time period. We've oftentimes seen this modern day sort of thing, which makes sense because there is kind of an empowering movement that's been going on for decades, but more in this modern time period. Medieval time, if this movie doesn't end with her being burned at the stake, I'm going to call it historically inaccurate. And that's not a mean thing to say. Unfortunately, that's what they did. All right. Yeah. And I'm pointing that out that was stupid and dumb, but it might end with some stake burning here.
The only thing I hope is the main actress, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she played Lady Mormont in Game of Thrones as a little girl from the north, and she was awesome in it. People loved her in it. I thought she did great. And in that role, she is a very proud, strong, independent woman, and awesome. Loved it. I do like her as an actor. I also noticed she has a couple more films coming out that she's either leading or co-starring in or have a supporting role. And I might watch this just to watch her. But I am excited because I do like her as an actor, and she's obviously older now. She was like 10 when she was on Game of Thrones. So it'll be, I'll watch it for her.
Mm-hmm. Coming out also that same weekend to Hulu, it's Hellraiser remake, I believe. I'm going to be honest, don't know much about this franchise, this character. I was kind of hoping you'd take the reins on that one. My only thing is the costume, the pinhead thing, is supposed to look scary. To me, it just looks like an experimental acupuncture treatment.
Yes. That's the thing, like, the old Pinhead, he had much more of a menacing, almost like, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but you felt terrified in his presence, that there's nothing you could do. And this one, I don't know if I'm quite getting the same vibes, but obviously, it's another installment in the Hellraiser franchise. I don't know if it's a remake or some sort of sequel. I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So it might be a continuation.
It might be a continuation. I don't know. But
it kind of looked like National Treasure, but with demons.
Yeah.
Because everyone's solving these puzzles.
And it looked like there might be a new demon, but there's also a familiar face, the one that clacks his teeth a lot.
Okay, I'm assuming if you know this franchise, you get that reference.
Yeah,
I did not.
Yeah, I like the Pinhead, the Hellraiser series. I saw them when I was probably way too young, and they scared me. And everybody's hooked on chains, and it's cool. But it'll be cool to see what they do, how they and also another thing, very practical. A lot of like they would actually take like chains and like not obviously put them on your body, but put them on prosthetics on your body. So I'm wondering, are they going to do that, or is it going to be a little bit more CGI stuff?
It looked a little bit more digital in the trailer.
Yeah. So and that kind of makes me nervous, but we'll see.
Also coming out this same weekend, Luckiest Girl Alive, coming straight to Netflix. This is a Mila Kunis movie where her character is essentially kind of reaching the peak of her career, of her life. Everything's going good. When someone who was kind of interviewing her at getting a background on this person, and this is what I think is interesting, is they're not doing it to be like malicious, like looking for dirt. They're just doing this interview, doing background research, and finds that there was some incident in her past that not everything might have been as
hunky-dory.
Yeah. Did she maybe murder someone in high school? Oh, I don't know. Was it an accident? That's a pretty big 50-50, though.
Yeah. So it looks awesome. Right away, I was kind of thinking like, oh, boy, what is this? And then as it got going, I was like, oh, this looks actually super interesting. And I like Mila Kunis, too.
She's
a good actor.
She's really good. And then finally coming out this weekend, Significant Other, coming straight to Paramount Plus. All right, before we get into the story of this one, I got to do another PSA here. Last week I was full of controversial opinions. This week I'm just trying to educate you all. If you're in a movie, don't stick your hand in the goo. Don't do it, all right? You don't know what it is. You don't know what it's going to do to you. If you're in real life, don't stick your hand in the goo. I don't know why we have to keep telling people this. Goo hand sticking, don't do it.
Don't do it.
It never, ever turns out good. Ever. And guess what? This character sticks her hand in the goo, and guess what? Bad things happen. I rest my case. What sort of bad things? A couple's hitchhiking through the wilderness. Looks like the guy's going to propose to the girl. Well, the girl, she stuck her hand in the goo. We don't know what's happening to her now. Is she possessed? It kind of looks like maybe some sort of clone of her all of a sudden gets shot out of this cave.
Yep.
Which is like the most magical cave I've ever seen since the Cave of Wonders from like Aladdin or something. But and then she's murdering people.
Yeah, and it looks interesting. It's got the guy, one of the part-time guys from The Office.
Yes,
later seasons. So it's cool to see him.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's just been kind of in a few things. He
yeah.
hasn't really been able to break out yet. But I think he's funny. But doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of laughs in this one here. But
maybe not for him.
Yeah, not for him. Maybe for Goo Girl, as
Goo
I've
Girl.
now called her. I'm going to coin that. But yeah, don't stick your hands in the goo. I don't know why we got to tell people this. But that's everything coming out this weekend. Let's move into some number one recommends, talk about what we've checked out this past week and what we think you should see here. Ryan, I'm going to let you go first. What have you seen recently?
So today I'd like to talk about Hocus Pocus. Now, earlier in the show, we talked about the second one being released on Disney+. I'm super excited to watch it. I loved Hocus Pocus when it came out. Some of my family, we would watch together, my cousin Jada, especially every Halloween, we'd try to watch it. It was on Disney Channel. It was all over TV. So I would say if you get the chance, if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then go watch the second one. They're nice, lighthearted family movies. Obviously, you know, as long as you're like 5, you should be able to watch it, but maybe a little bit older. But it's a scary movie, but it's a very kid-friendly scary movie, and they're fun to watch.
My recommend for this week is See How They Run. I got a chance to check this out in the theaters. We talked about I'm kind of a big fan of mystery movies. This one's a pretty good mystery movie. It's a little bit of a meta mystery movie, I will say. But some of the things we talked about, how Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan are kind of this dichotomy of characters. One's the kind of, I don't really care about this, or at least looks like he doesn't. One's the chipper young rookie. I love the chemistry between these two. I think they do really good. Best way I can describe Sam Rockwell's performance is if Jack Sparrow became a detective. I mean, he's literally doing a Jack Sparrow impression during this, but I really like it. But that is going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Let us know what you've been watching recently, and we can maybe check it out as well if we have the time. Free time. I remember when that was a thing back when I was in elementary school. But let us know what you've been watching, and maybe other people can check it out as well, other viewers and whatnot. But for myself and Ryan Meyerberg, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.